UX UI Design Career Switch Guide. Section 1, the confusion around the switching into UX. If you are thinking about switching your career into UX design, you have probably heard a lot of mixed opinions. Some people say UX is a fast growing field, others saying that market is already saturated. Some say you can switch careers in a few months. Others say it is extremely difficult. So naturally, many career switchers today feel confused about the current UX design industry. Hi, I am Rambal, founder of Aspira UX Design School. Over the past 8 years, we have trained more than 4,600 UX designers, and interestingly, almost half of them were career switchers coming from completely different industries. Through these conversations, I noticed something interesting. So, most people who are exploring UX careers are actually asking the same set of questions. So, questions about the market, questions about the salary, questions about whether their background will work, questions about how long the transition really takes. So, in this video, I am going to answer 10 of the most common questions career switchers ask about UX design today. You may already be thinking about some of these questions yourself. So, instead of guessing or listening to random opinions online, I will walk through these questions one by one and give you the clear and realistic pictures of what switching into UX actually looks like in today's market. Section 2, what UX design actually is. See, before we talk about switching careers, we need to clarify what UX design actually is. Because many people misunderstand the role. So, UX design is not just about making the screens looking beautiful, it is about solving the human problems inside the digital products. So, think about the apps you use every day. So, something like the food delivery apps, banking apps, shopping apps, healthcare platforms. Every one of these products has to answer questions something like how easily can a user complete a task? What confuses them? Where do they make mistakes? How do we reduce the friction? So, this is the job of a UX designer. So, UX stands for user experience, UI stands for user interface. So, UX focuses on how the product works, UI focuses on how the product looks. So, in most companies today, the role combines the both. So, the title becomes UX and UI designer. And this role exists inside almost every digital company today. Section 3, who is hiring the UX designers? So, one of the biggest concerns career switchers have is job stability. So let's talk about where the demand actually exists. Fintech companies, something like a PhonePe, Razorpay, Grow, Zerodha. Healthcare platforms, so Apollo, Practo, online medical services. E-commerce companies, Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, Myntra. SaaS-based companies, so Zoho, Freshworks, enterprise software tools. So and even IT service companies, something like a TCS and Infosys now have the full UX teams. So in 2026, every company is a digital company and digital products need the designers. So the demand is real. But there is an important detail many people miss. So entry level positions are very competitive. Companies are not hiring based on the certificates. They are hiring based on the portfolio quality. Section 4, the biggest fear, am I too late? So, this is the number one question career switchers ask. Am I too late to move into UX? So, let me answer honestly. No, but it depends on how you approach the transition. So, many successful UX designers today started in completely different fields. So they are from engineering, customer support, business operations, marketing, finance, even healthcare. Your past experience does not disappear when you switch the careers. In fact, it can become your advantage. For example, someone from a healthcare background can design a healthcare products better than someone who has never worked in that specific industry. So someone from the finance understands the financial systems better. Someone from the e-commerce understands the customer behavior. So your domain knowledge becomes a superpower when combined with UX design skills. So don't hide your past experience. So reframe it as your strength. Section 5, who can successfully switch into UX design? So before we talk about the salary and timelines, there is an important question many career switchers ask themselves. Is UX design actually suitable for someone like me? So let me give you a simple way to think about it. UX design is not limited to people with the design degrees. Many successful designers come from the completely different backgrounds, but they usually share the certain traits. So let me give you a few examples. People from engineering or IT backgrounds often transition well into UX because they already understand how software products are built. People from customer support or operations roles often become strong UX designers because they deeply understand the user frustrations and real world problems. People from business, marketing, or product coordination roles often adapt well because thinking about the customer journeys and product decisions. So, people from psychology, sociology, or research backgrounds bring stronger user empathy and research skills. And even people from completely different industries, healthcare, banking, logistics, education, can become excellent designers because they understand the real user context. But there are a few qualities that matter more than your background. First, curiosity about how products work. Second, patience to improve designs through feedback. Third, willingness to practice consistently. So UX design is not about artistic talent, it is about observing the problems and improving the systems. So in fact, some of the strongest designers today are career switchers because they bring real world experience into product design. If you enjoy analyzing how products works, right? So asking why users struggle and improving those experiences. So this field can be a good fit. If you are only looking for a quick career shortcut, this may not be the right path. Now that we understand who this field suits, the next practical question is about salary expectations when switching the careers. Section 6, the salary question. Yeah, so I got understand. Now let's talk about the question most people are hesitant to ask, the salary. When you switch the careers, there is sometimes a temporary adjustment period. So if you are currently earning around 4 to 5 lakhs, your first UX role may start around a similar range. So if you are earning 6 to 8 lakhs, your first UX role may start slightly lower. But here is the important perspective. Do not compare your year 4 salary in your current field with your year 1 salary in UX. So compare where you could be 3 years from now. So UX design is a skill-based profession. As your portfolio improves and your experience grows, your earning potential increases significantly. So the trajectory matters more than the starting point. Before we continue, I want to address something important. So many people watching this video are probably thinking, okay, so this sounds interesting, but can someone like me actually make this transition? So that is a fair question because switching career is not just about learning new skills. It is about rebuilding the confidence, so changing how you present yourself and showing employers a completely new professional identity. So the next thing we need to talk about is how long this transition realistically takes and what the journey actually looks like. So let's look at that. Section 7, how long a career transition takes. So another very important question, how long does it realistically take to transition into UX? So a serious transition typically takes 6 to 9 months period, not 6 to 9 months of waiting. So 6 to 9 months of learning, building projects, refining your portfolio, and applying for roles. So some people they move faster, some they take longer. So especially if they are balancing learning with a full-time job. But the timeline depends on the consistency, not a background. Section 8, mistakes career switchers make when moving into UX. Hey, before we move forward, I want to talk about something very important. Over the years, I have observed a few common mistakes that career switchers make when trying to move into UX design. So understanding this early can save you a lot of time and frustration. So the first mistake is focusing only on tools. Many people think learning Figma or design software is the main challenge, but tools are the easiest part of the UX design. So the real skill is learning how to think about user problems and explain the design decisions. So the second mistake is expecting fast results. So some people expect to switch careers within 2 or 3 months. So a realistic transition usually takes 6 to 9 months of consistent effort. So learning, building projects, refining your portfolio, and applying for roles. So there are no shortcuts. The third mistake is building generic portfolios. Many students follow the same template, same app ideas, and same case study structures. When recruiters see the 10 similar portfolios, they stop paying the attention. A strong portfolio shows your thinking process, not just the screens. Avoiding these mistakes doesn't guarantee success, but it dramatically increases your chances of making a successful transition. Section 9, when you should not switch to UX. So, career transitions are serious decisions. So, it is important to be honest about situations where switching to UX may not be the right move. The first situation is if you are looking for a quick shortcut career. UX design requires learning, practice, feedback, and portfolio building. If someone is expecting results in 2 or 3 months, they will almost certainly feel frustrated. The second situation is if you dislike problem solving. UX design is not just about making screens look good. So, a large part of the work involves analyzing the user behavior, identifying the friction points, and improving the product flows. If someone prefers purely routine work without analysis or iterations, UX may not feel satisfying. The third situation is if you are not ready to practice consistently. So, learning UX is similar to learning any professional skill. So, progress comes from the repeated feedback and the refinement. So, without consistent effort, the portfolio never reaches the quality recruiters expect. And the final situation is if you are only choosing UX because it is trending. Every few years, a career becomes popular. But long term success usually comes from the genuine interest in the work itself. So, before switching careers, it's worth asking yourself a simple question. Do I enjoy understanding how products work and improving them for users? If the answer is yes, UX can be a rewarding career. If the answer is no, there are many other paths that may suit you better. So now if you feel this field may actually suit you, the next important decision is how to choose the right training path. Section 10, how to choose a UX training institute. Now let's talk about something very important. If you are planning to learn UX, how do you choose the right institute? So, because the market today has many different types of programs. So, there are three common models. The first one, recorded course platforms. So, these usually cost between 1,000 to 30,000 rupees. You learn through the recorded videos. Sometimes there are weekly doubt clearing sessions. These programs work well if you are highly self disciplined. But beginners often struggle because there is very little portfolio feedback. Second, premium certificate programs. So these can cost between 90,000 to 2.5 lakhs. So they often partner with well-known universities or institutions. So you get a branded certificate, but much of the learning still happens through recorded sessions and large group mentoring. Third, career builder training institutes. So these usually fall between 50,000 to 80,000 rupees. The focus here is on live mentor sessions, project feedback cycles, portfolio building, interview preparations. So, whichever institute you choose, ask these 5 questions. Can you see the real student portfolio? So, how many portfolio review rounds happen? So, where are the student projects published publicly? Is the course focused on tools or thinking? And what career support exists after the training? Because in UX careers, your portfolio matters more than your certificate. Section 11, will AI replace UX designers? So this is another concern career switchers often have. AI tools are improving very quickly. So they can generate the layouts, suggest UI elements, even produce basic wireframes. But these are the things AI cannot replace. So understanding the human behavior, running user research, observing how people struggle with the products, communicating the design decisions to the teams. So AI can generate the options, but it cannot replace the human insight. AI will replace the designers who only know the tools. It will not replace the designers who understand the people. So designers who learn to use AI will actually become faster and more valuable. Section 12. What separates successful career switchers? Over the years, I have noticed something interesting. So career switchers who succeed usually share the three qualities. First, consistency. They continue learning even when progress feels very slow. Second, clarity. They understand what kind of a role they want. Third, communication. They learn to explain their design thinking clearly during the interviews. But there is a fourth factor many institutes ignore: visibility. Recruiters often discover the designers through platforms like Behance and LinkedIn before they read the resumes. So your work needs to be visible. Section 13, real student portfolios. So let me show you something. So this is our public Behance profile. So these are not the demo projects. So these are the real student portfolios. So projects created by the beginners and the career switchers. The profile has crossed more than 2 million project views, over 160,000 appreciations, and thousands of followers from the design community. Some of our student projects have even received EY Design Awards. So why does this matter? Because when recruiters discover your work on a high visibility platform, your credibility increases instantly. So that is why we focus heavily on portfolio quality. So quality matters more than the speed. Section 14, what you should do next. So switching career is a serious decision. It affects your time, your finances, your family expectations. So the goal is not to rush the decisions. The goal is to gain the clarity. So that is why every week we host a live UX career clarity session. So in this session, we discuss things openly. So the real effort required, how long the transition typically takes, what a strong UX portfolio looks like, and whether this path actually makes sense for your background. You can ask anything, even difficult ones. There is no pressure to join anything. The link to register for the UX career clarity session is in the description. So, and if you prefer a direct conversation, you can also talk to our team through WhatsApp. So you can ask your questions, discuss your situation, even involve your parents or family members if you want. If this path fits you, we will guide you. If it doesn't, we will tell you honestly. Because when it comes to the career decisions, clarity matters more than the urgency. Thank you for watching. I'm Rambal. I will catch you soon with another meaningful topic. Until then, bye bye.